Greetings from Insurance Institute of India. We are happy to present fourth episode of Milestones, a series of short interviews to showcase major changes, new happenings in Indian insurance industry that had or would have far-reaching effects on the industry. In the earlier episodes, we covered setting up of a new unified regulatory authority for banking, insurance and capital markets for international financial centers in India, supportive role of IRDAI during the COVID-19 pandemic period, and the last one was on the IPOs of insurance companies. As we enter into the post-COVID world, many sweeping changes are envisaged in the way the insurance business was traditionally transacted. Technological changes and disruptions are being seen as major challenges before the insurance industry in the near future. To give his insights on the subject, we have with us Mr. Joydeep Roy, India Financial Services Advisory Leader, PwC. Welcome, sir, on this III's social media initiative Milestones.
Thank you, Mr. Goodbole. My pleasure.
Yeah. So let's begin on our journey of understanding about this particular subject. It is said that post-COVID-19 era in Indian insurance industry will see a major technological transformation, and all the insurers, be it PSU or private, full service or niche, all will have to pay immediate attention to this, or else they are likely to be facing challenges of survival and sustainability. How true is this, sir? My question is on the backdrop of a similar issue of Y2K that was discussed a lot, but proved to be not so disruptive. So maybe your views on that.
Thanks, Mr. Goodbole. I'd just like to probably take a different analogy to explain my point of view on this. Many of us will remember, and many of your students will never remember, the era when we used to take photographs on a roll, and we used to take it to a photography developing shop, and we used to give it to them. They used to take it back to a dark room and come out with the photographs. They ask us to wait for half an hour, and then we'll get the photographs. Now, at that time, how many of us would have actually wanted to know how it was being done? Was there a magic wand through which it was becoming a photo? Was there something divine going on inside the dark room? Were there chemicals? Were there tools? Plates, liquids? We never asked. Now, we never asked because it is to happen almost certainly. I mean, except for one or two photos which might get spoiled, we knew if we go and give it to them, we will get something in a certain period of time, and the results were acceptable. So any industry, as long as they continue to give to their customers in the time frame which is promised, the product with the quality which is promised, and there will be no questions asked. Now, what happens is disruption happens when someone comes and say, hey, no longer 36 photos, you can take as many as you want. And by the way, you can print at your home. And by the way, so the problem is that it is not a question of COVID-19. It is a question of what has happened or got accelerated as a result of COVID-19. So many insurers have gone ahead and accelerated their technology adoption plans. Well, Indian industry that way has been one of the more technologically, can say, advanced compared to the age of the industry. In no country that I know of in the history of insurance growth have there been even the iota of computerized customer data records keeping or servicing in the first 10 to 20 years of the history. Well, India has moved ahead. It is expected of India being a technology capital of the world. However, the adoption of technology in insurance companies till 2019 was very uneven. And it depended upon priority. Whoever could use 200 people to do that same job, which 20 people with some technology was doing in another, they kept on doing it. Now, what has COVID-19 or the pandemic done? That has brought into focus the importance of serving customers through thick and thin, whether there are people in offices or not, whether it is whatever time of the day or not, and finally whatever be the situation or environment, country, you have to keep servicing. You have to keep servicing a motor claim. You have to keep servicing a life claim. You have to keep getting a cashless approval. Now that, as well as keep selling. The agents and the distributors have to be given tools so that they could sell as good as filling the form or bringing it back or getting illustrations done. Now, as I said, a lot of companies have moved ahead on this and some hadn't. But because of the pandemic, they all have accelerated these plans. And on top of that, since they are now focusing on it, they have also accelerated their advanced technology plans, which are the ones with using AI for, let's say, responding to customers. Today there are insurers in the Indian industry who are already, whose customer query response on email happens through a robot. More than 40% of the cases. We don't know that. We don't feel that. These are self-learning systems. What about using machine learning on fraud claim, or understanding frauds in claims? That's happening, but it is still uneven. But all the insurers have realized now that these are going to give a competitive edge to insurers. It's not just a question of getting one's efficiency on the right track. It's about competitive edge, and therefore everyone is rushing to adopt these technologies. As a result, if majority now go into these advanced technologies, doing testing through DevOps, having data lakes for better customer service, for making sure that unified understanding of customer is there, doing analytics to understand where the problems lie, using AI and ML for answering customers and also figuring out fraud. What will happen is people who don't do it, they will be conspicuous in the absence of all of these, and therefore customers will think twice before they will really buy policies from them, and therefore that is why that statement which you made, and I had to draw it sort of a parallel, that it doesn't matter of how you do it. Finally, customer expectation is all the time get better, do things faster, do things better in better quality, faster and cheaper. Now, if that's not held, that promise is not held, people will be left behind.
So maybe as we have heard you, I could say it is a one way. There is no return on this, whether it is PSU, whether it is a private sector, whether it is a big company or a startup, but it is inevitable that one has to adopt the technology. That's great.
One rejoinder to that, since you say that it is one way, it is a one-way street. Now, the experience in most of the countries across the world, even through the SARS crisis, it happened, or the financial crisis in 2008, it happened. Now, some of these things got accelerated, but the market leaders, the companies which are the largest ones, which are the maximum pots of money to invest, they actually utilize that to move ahead and get more and more competitive. And that's why you see giant insurance companies across the world today. Now in India, and that's why when you say whether it's PSU or private sector, I think it's a one-way street. And one should expect to see the market leaders, the people who have the largest market shares, be private and all the large PSUs, to actually be the front runner in these. If we see it happening only in the smaller companies, then that will not be great for the industry, because then customer expectations will get belied.
True. So very true. Sir, I would take this discussion forward and try to know, for example, when someone was asking in our academy as to what exactly is artificial intelligence or then machine learning. So some examples that we try to give them is trying to tell them, see, in your day-to-day working, when you have bought a airline ticket from here to Kolkata, then maybe you get some advertisements straight away coming later on when you are surfing, which say that, are you looking for a hotel also? Are you looking for a pickup also from the airport to the hotel? And so that this is the way we try to tell the layman about the technology and all that. Now, in continuing with this, I would definitely like to know from you, we keep hearing the word InsurTech very often. Would we know exactly what it is, and could our audience know about an example of that we all can grasp?
So before I do that, you said something also very valuable at the beginning. We're talking of AI and ML. And I see all the time people getting confused between AI and ML. and people getting confused between blockchain and Bitcoin, and people getting confused over analytics and data. Now, these are typically these are difficult to define like a one single Oxford dictionary definition. So let me maybe try to demystify that for your students. So the example that you took, that when you are trying to do something, buying a hotel ticket, airline ticket, and then it suggests your hired car or your hotel or a return ticket, that's neither AI nor ML. That's a result of predictive analytics. So if I take the data of last 5 years and find that people who are traveling, most of the time they buy the air ticket first and then hotel, then I will do that on my site. I will, the moment they're trying to buy an air ticket or have just finished buying an air ticket and feeling very pleased about it and looking forward to the holiday, I would push up hotels with beautiful photos. That's predictive analytics. That's intelligent digital marketing. It's rule based and therefore not AIML. These are rules which have come out by analyzing the past, rules which have been set by human natural intelligence and instituted as hard-coded rules that whenever somebody does that. Now, if the data showed that people buy hotels first and then air ticket, then it would be useless, right? Then it will be too late.
Okay.
So therefore, it's predictive analytics. It's predictive. Yeah, after analyzing the past and predicting what people may do, and then setting my system, and the system will keep on doing it. So that's absolutely not intelligent. That is, on the other hand, highly unintelligent. It will do it repetitively.
Okay.
Without fatigue, in the same quality all the time. Now, if I put a ML system in it, which is machine learning system, and the system starts learning that people who are booking one particular airline are wanting the 5-star hotels, and people who are buying another airline are preferring 3-star hotels, or people who are, let me make it more complex, people who are of a certain age, category, profession, when they are trying to buy the ticket between 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. This is also analytics, but once I find these, it opens up a new possibility, and therefore, and these possibilities are tenuous. They are not so solid as the other one. Then I start getting the machine to suggest more specific to their likes at that time. But if people do not take that option and move away, that's a learning. So next time a similar person logs in, the machine is going to suggest different one. So it's trying to learn. It learns if too many people are clicking and agreeing, that's a learning. If people are moving away and refusing to go for those hotels, that's another learning. So it learns and then sets rules for itself. And then after some time, when it has been established that 85% people do this, that becomes a rule, and that gets pushed to 100% for efficiency. So that's machine learning. Okay. The rule had not been set by you or me. It had been set by the machine after learning over 6 months, it will be 1 year, it could. Artificial intelligence is something totally different. Artificial intelligence is actually sensing from your letter of grievance your temperament, your sentiment. Are you writing this letter as a thank you, or as a ingratitude, or you're writing this letter as a grievance, or is it a simple, very impersonal address change, or is it a second or third letter? Are you getting frustrated? From the terminology of the letter and from the frequency of the letter, artificial intelligence engines try to understand the sentiment, and then they will write back a letter in the style of the corporate in a way that you will not figure out that it has not been written by a human. It will also take into consideration if there is it's being fed through machine learning, a legal engine, then it will learn the legal terminology. It will also learn what is legal and illegal, what cannot be, what can create liability, and accordingly start phrasing plain natural language processing (NLP). In natural language, the code of the machine will get transferred into natural language, and it will write you a letter which will make you feel good. Also, do the escalation mechanism with the organization, figure out how to solve it, who solves it, learn that, send it to the right person. So that's artificial intelligence, where you are actually giving a complete open sky, but feeding information, data, analytics, and machine learning. But it doesn't stop there. It is the output is not machine-like. It's not a prompt. Output is human-like, and that's artificial intelligence for you. An example would be some of the voice bots which speak to you like as if you think somebody is speaking to you, but they're actually speaking to you in the intonation that you would make you feel. So these are the differences between the technologies, and there are many underlying technologies there which I don't want to get into, but so that's one.
That's great. In fact, I should say that we have been using these words without understanding so many details that how same, how different are they, and what are the different purposes they would serve. So I think that was really a good kind of insight into not just throwing these words anyway and which way that they come to you. That's
Shall I come to InsurTech now, or shall I come to your actual question which you asked me?
yeah, please. InsurTech is what
So
then.
yeah, if you think in the whole startup atmosphere, the whole well, there are two kinds of startup. There are startups which are uh, trade startups. There are startups which are doing something new in deep in technology. They're actually developing tech tools. They're not really called fintech, insurtech, ed tech, reg tech. But what are these reg tech, ed tech, insurtech, fintech? These are companies which have identified a gap in the market. The gap coming either out of an inefficiency of all the players, or of an unmet need of the customer from all the players, or of simply a new opportunity which others will be, for larger companies in that place will be very difficult to react to. And then they move in, and then they start dominating the space and start killing the bigger players. So an example, and let me take an example of uh, fintech. Now, these payments companies are fintech. They're essentially technology companies, but then they have discovered that I can also do payments. I can do financial transactions. I can do actual finance. I can go into that business. Why shall I go and empower another company which is in the business of, let's say, money transaction, like a bank or a lender or a money whatever remittance company? Why shall I be a technology company whose name will never be heard, and I'll become a vendor to that company, and that company's shares will rise, and I shall get only a fee? Instead of that, let me open a company which lends. All I have to do is to get a good low cost source of money. So let me see if I can do that, and then shake up the market, because my costs will be a fraction of the costs of the big lender or big bank. So fintechs or any of these techs that you see, they actually disrupt that market. They become a player in the market. So this is true for fintech, regtech, edtech, not true for insurtech, and I'll tell you why. So regtech is somebody which is doing a regulatory job through technology. So it will kill probably a tax or a tax lawyer or a lawyer's work by routinely. So today, a company will always send a letter to a lawyer saying, please check if this is okay, or my tax filing is okay, which are being done by human beings. So regtech or a tax tech comes. We have so many tax technologies which you put it in, it gets done. Your GST billing gets done unerringly. You just put in your figures. Actual what is the output correct will come out, which means you don't need a person to do that for you anymore. It's like filing returns. I mean, filing income tax returns. I'm just a most relatable example. You don't need to go to somebody. You can just fill up a few things, it'll get done. Now that's a that's a regtech. EdTech is an education company which comes and disrupts, let's say, the coaching or even schooling. Tomorrow, if they can get registered for giving degrees, they can completely disrupt schools. Let's come to InsurTech. InsurTech also essentially means the same, at least globally, but in India, somehow InsurTechs are companies which have figured out a way to do certain things very well. Let's say get the health report done well, or let's get the motor claim done easily, or the survey report done quickly through a very beautiful artificial intelligence lens on the phone, so that the actual cost of repairs will be predicted. The moment the surveyor points the phone to the this car, it understands the model, it understands the spare parts, it understands what has got damaged, it will tell what will be the damage and all that because of the database behind. Now that's an insured tech here, but they are not doing insurance business. They are not disrupting the insurance. They are actually coming and trying to sell. So that essentially they are insurance technology companies. They're not insured tech. The closest we have to an insured tech is one company, which is a private equity funded company. I can say the name, Echo, which is adding 1 rupee to an Ola Drive or adding a extended warranty to an Amazon. So they're a technology company which has got an insurance company license and are trying to do embedded insurance, like embedded finance is a big thing. So therefore, they have become an insurance company. But if you're a technology company which is actually going and empowering another insurance company, you're not an insurtech. You are an insurance technology company. Like today, our core banking system companies are banking technology companies, but they're not banks. Therefore, they are not fintech. So that's the subtle difference. But unfortunately, in India, all the startups which are coming up with solutions to insurance problems are being labeled insurtech. This can change if the regulator starts giving insurance licenses, limited licenses to somebody who does something very, very well. Maybe somebody who does travel policy very, very well, which is a technology company which does, and they get insurance license. I know there will be a lot of other issues of capital insolvency and but if that happens, then they'll be truly insurtechs.
Great, sir. In fact, now we are coming closer to the close of these discussions because we have got good inputs on technology from you. So we'll take quick 2 questions on one-liners. If I wish to know what would be more challenging for a traditional insurer to acquire technology or for a new company to acquire domain knowledge?
Well, there's a very easy answer. It's the second, because along with the domain knowledge, all the new company has to do is to acquire good people from the traditional companies. So that's why probably it's easier. But domain knowledge cannot be equated to experience. So I think today, even today, it's still easier for a larger company, traditional company, to acquire technology physically. Temperamentally, no, because this technology will bring in its wake a new digital way of doing things, not just automating the 8-step process for claim, making it 1 step. That is what becomes a problem and an entry barrier for the larger companies to get into technology. Unless the mind problem and the agility in the mind is solved, it'll always be the newer companies which will learn the domain faster than the traditional companies can adopt to technology.
Thank you for that candid opinion. In fact, we at the academic side are also worried as to how to improve our domain knowledge, because now the financial services are also not going to remain as different as we are seeing as banking, insurance and capital markets and so on. So towards the end, I think having heard you, we can discuss so much more with you because of your expertise and because of your experience. But thank you for sparing time for discussing about the technology and how it is going to affect the Indian insurance industry. I think we can agree on a conclusion that though different words are being used because the change is inevitable, I think technology will be more of a facilitator than a disruptor for the insurance industry in India. Maybe on that we could agree, and it's time for me to say thank you for sparing this time and sharing your insights. Our viewers will definitely appreciate this and give their reactions on this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Godbole. Very much. My pleasure, privilege.